Assalomu alaykum. Mana shu va bundan keyingi bir nechta videolarda biz ingliz tilidagi imlo qoidalarini o'rganamiz. Buning uchun biz mana shu dasturdan foydalanamiz. Men gapirmayman, o'zi hammasini tushuntirib beradi. Dorling Kindersleyning dasturi bu.
Hi there, I'm Mike McGee, and welcome to Spelling Made Easy. Spelling, it's pretty cool stuff, eh? Well, OK, I know that some people aren't too keen on spelling, but as we'll see, getting your spelling right is pretty important if you want to communicate clearly when you write. Now, if you've already heard this intro before, click on my board here, and we can get down to the nitty-gritty straight away. But if this is your first time to see the show, it might be best to let me start by putting this whole spelling thing into perspective. So why is it important that you know how to spell properly? Well, one good reason is that if you can't spell correctly, the meaning of what you write isn't going to be very clear, and there's a good chance you'll confuse people. So basically, correct spelling is important because it helps you make your meaning clear when you write. To see what I mean, consider this. If I write, my hair is in the hat, the spelling of the word hare, H-A-R-E, tells us that we're talking about the rabbit-like creature. But if I write, my hair is in the hat, the spelling of the word hair, H-A-I-R, communicates a very different message. We're now talking about the stuff that grows on your head. Both words sound the same, but they are spelled differently. Before Noah Webster started to put together the first American Webster's Dictionary, there was no real correct spelling. People wrote down how they thought the word was pronounced. In all the copies of Shakespeare's signature that we still have, he never spelled his name the same way. Webster tried to standardise the way we spell words, but he didn't try to make it phonetic. In other words, he didn't try to ensure that each word is spelled as it sounds. As a result, the correct spelling of many words is very different from the way they sound.
Shu yerda bitta narsani tushuntiraman. Phonetic spelling degani mana shu o'zbek tilidagidek yoki ispan tilidagidek so'zlar qanday aytilsa shunday yozilishi. Barmoq desak, 6 ta tovush talaffuz qilamiz va yozuvda ham 6 ta harf bor. Ingliz tili esa phonetic emas. So'zlarning yozilishi va talaffuzi farq qiladi. Mana shu aytilyapti. English isn't phonetic.
As a result, the correct spelling of many words is very different from the way they sound. Think of all the O-U-G-H words you know. If you take the words plough, tough and although, they all have the same O-U-G-H string of letters. But they all sound completely different. Plough is pronounced plough, whereas tough is pronounced tough. And although is pronounced although. English spelling really can be pretty strange. However, because English spelling is strange, it doesn't mean you can't learn how to get it right. There are rules you can learn and patterns you can see. There is also some history you can learn to help you understand why some words are not spelt as they sound. And there are strategies you can use to improve your spelling. So, all of this leads me to my board here. As you can see, I've got a section for all the main areas of spelling. Click on any area and we can go through it together. So, you'd like to clarify the link between the way a word is spelt and the way it sounds. That's a good idea, because when it comes to English spelling, you have to be careful to avoid spelling every word exactly as it sounds. But before we get down to business, let's see what you already know. I've got a short exercise I'd like you to complete. Once you've finished this exercise, I'll have a much better idea of your strengths and weaknesses in this area, and so I'll be able to focus on where you need help. OK, so let's get down to it. I've got 10 words I'd like you to spell. I'll say the word, and then I'd like you to type it into the box here. When you've finished typing the word in, click on the Next button. I won't tell you now whether you've spelt it correctly or not. I just want you to type in how you think the word is spelt. OK, so word 1. How do you spell the word whistle? As in, Jim liked to whistle as he worked. Spell the word whistle. Thank you. Word 2. How do you spell the word ginger? As in, he likes to drink ginger ale. Spell the word ginger. Thank you. Now, word 3. How do you spell the word wrap? As in, we always wrap presents on Christmas Eve. Spell the word wrap. Thank you. Word 4. How do you spell the word steal? As in, the criminals tried to steal the money. Spell the word steal. Thank you. Word 5. How do you spell the word sign? As in, the road sign fell down in the storm. Spell the word sign. Thank you. Word 6. How do you spell the word civil? As in, he works for the civil service. Spell the word civil. Thank you. Word 7. How do you spell the word bought? As in, he bought sweets in the shop. Spell the word bought. Thank you. Word 8. How do you spell the word tough? As in, it was a very tough match. Spell the word tough. Thank you. Word 9. How do you spell the word 8? As in, she ate her breakfast at 7 o'clock. Spell the word 8. Thank you. And finally, word 10. How do you spell the word tube? As in, he squeezed the tube of toothpaste. Spell the word tube. OK, that's great. Well, from what I can see, your grasp of this area is pretty good. But you may still find it worthwhile to work through the sections in this area. You can do this by simply clicking on any section in the menu, or alternatively, click on the main menu button to select another area to learn about. In this section, I want to do 2 things. First of all, I want to talk about the way different letters make different sounds. I'll talk about the different consonant sounds and the different vowel sounds. And of course, I'll explain what all this means. This is because I think if you want to be a successful speller, you need to have a bit of background in the variety of sounds that different letters make. But secondly, I also want you to realise that you can't simply rely on letter sounds if you want to master spelling. This is because English is not really a phonetic language. What do I mean by this? Well, when I say it is not phonetic, I mean it's not the sort of language in which we always spell words the same way as we say them. There are many reasons for this, but just look at this word to see what I mean. This word isn't pronounced colonel. It's pronounced colonel. If English were a phonetic language, the spelling would perhaps be Kernel. But as I said, English isn't always phonetic. The word colonel is spelled Colonel. That's just the way it is in English. So, you need to be aware of the times when you can rely on the way a word sounds in order to be able to spell it, and the times when you simply cannot rely on the sound. Hopefully, by the end of this section, you'll have a pretty good grasp of the link between spelling and sound, and what you need to do to avoid spelling mistakes. OK, so let's begin by talking about consonants. So, what's a consonant? Well, in our alphabet there are 26 letters, and of these letters, 21 are known as consonants. Well, the consonants in the alphabet are all of these letters here. A good way of remembering the consonants in the alphabet is to remember that they are every letter that isn't A, E, I, O and U. These letters are called vowels, and we'll come to them later. However, some consonants can be tricky. The letters C and G can cause spelling problems because each of these letters can make two very different sounds. The consonant letter C can make the hard K sound, as in caterpillar or frantic. As such, it is very similar to the sound made by the letter K. But the letter C can also make the soft S sound, as in ceiling or cellar or mice. So it can also sound similar to the sound the letter S makes. Similarly, the letter G can also be pronounced with a hard sound or with a soft sound. It can be pronounced soft, as in Germany or germ or manager. As such, it is similar to the sound made by the letter J. But it can also be pronounced hard, as in gift or goal. Understanding how the consonants C and G can make two different sounds is important because it can help you understand the options for spelling words in English. So, how do we know when a C or a G is hard or soft? Well, the tendency is that C words and G words are pronounced soft if the C or G is followed by an E or an I. And so we have cell and ceiling and city and cinema. And we also have general and generous and giant and gin. But if the letters C and G are followed by an A, O or U, the C and G sounds tend to be pronounced hard. So we have came, come, current, and gave, goat, and gulp. OK, now the reason why I've been telling you all this about consonants is because I think understanding consonant sounds is important if you are to avoid spelling mistakes. So, to see how well you've understood what I've been saying, try this exercise. What I want you to do is drag the words into the soft or hard boxes, depending on whether you think they make hard or soft sounds. When you've finished, click Done. Yes, well done, that's right. The words with hard-sounding Gs are the ones with the letters A, O and U after the G. So it's goalkeeper, guess and garden. Notice how in each of these words the letters A, O and U come after the G. And the hard Cs are cupboard, cattle and cot. Notice again how in each of these words the letters A, O and U come after the C. The soft-sounding C's and G's are centre and city and ginger and manager. Notice how in these words the letters E and I come after the C and the G. OK, so let's move on. I now want to talk about vowels. So, what's a vowel? Well, in our alphabet there are 26 letters. And of these 26 letters, 5 of them are what we call vowels. The vowels in the alphabet are the letters A, E, I, O and U. The other 21 letters are called consonants. Sometimes the letter Y is thought of as the 6th vowel because it makes a vowel sound. Every word, to be a word, must contain a vowel. All the letters in our alphabet make sounds. Most of the consonants in the alphabet make just one sound. But each vowel actually makes 2 very different sounds. These are called long vowel sounds and short vowel sounds. So what do I mean by this? Well, long vowel sounds are those sounds that sound pretty much the same as the way we say the letter name itself. Think of the words rate or pine. The A and the I sounds in these words are pronounced long, just like the letter itself. The word is rate, for example, not rat.
Shu yerda yana bitta narsani aytay. Bu yerda bu boshlovchi, ya'ni mana shu dasturda bizga hamma narsani tushuntirib berayotgan Mike McGee British bo'lsa ham British accent bilan gapiryapti. Lekin bu dasturni o'zi amerikaliklar tomonidan yozilgan ekan. Chunki Amerikada long vowel deyilganda mana shu A, I kabi diftonglar tushuniladi. Buyuk Britaniyada qisqa va uzun tovushlar aynan xuddi shunday bo'ladi. Ya'ni qisqasi O bo'lsa, uzuni O. Qisqasi I bo'lsa, uzuni I. Qisqasi U bo'lsa, uzuni U. Mana shunday bo'ladi. Amerikada esa long, o'sha uzun deyilgani aslida qaysidir tovushni uzun shakli emas, diftong. Endi qolganini eshitamiz.
Not rat. And similarly, it's pine, not pin. The vowel clearly has a long sound. Short vowels have a much blunter sound. The short vowel sound of the letter A, for example, is A, as in rat or mat or bat. The vowel is short, not long. If you were to pronounce the vowel long, the words would be rate, mate and bait. All the vowels have long and short varieties. If we take the letter O, for example, the long variety is found in words like go, whereas the short variety of the same vowel is heard in words like cot. Note that the vowel can be pronounced either O or O. Similarly, if we take the vowel I, this too has a long variety, as in fine, and a short variety, as in thin. So as you can see, the vowel can be pronounced either long, as in I, or short, as I. The same goes for the vowel U, which can be pronounced long, as in tube, or short, as in tub. OK, to see if you grasp this point I'm making about long and short vowel sounds, I'd like you to complete this exercise. Drag these words into the columns marked long and short, depending on how the first vowel in each word sounds. When you've finished, click Done.
Endi mana bu yerda mana shu yo'limizga qo'yamiz. Mana bunisi Buyuk Britaniyada I deyiladigan o'sha I tovushi. Mana bularda diftong.
Yes, well done, that's right. The long vowel sounds are wine, Peter, Pope, ape and tube, because the vowel sound in each of them is the same as if you were reciting the alphabet. All the other words have short vowel sounds. Notice the blunt sound of the vowels in the word win, pet, pop, apple and tub. The sound of the vowel is very different from the way we recite the letters of the alphabet. OK, I want now to talk a little more about letter sounds. When we speak, we make sounds. Every language has a set of sounds. German has a set of sounds. French has a set of sounds. Chinese has a set of sounds. And of course, English has a set of sounds. In English, there are approximately 44 sounds that sound right. But although there are approximately 44 sounds in spoken English, we've only got 26 letters in our alphabet. So, how do we make 44 sounds if we only have 26 letters? Well, the simple answer is that we combine letters to create different sounds. There's no letter for the ch sound in church, for example. But by combining the C and H together, we create this sound. When two or more letters are put together like this, they're called letter strings. But unfortunately, English isn't always consistent in the way these letter combinations sound. In fact, one of the difficult things about English spelling is that many words use the same combinations of letters but make very different sounds. Ah! For example, take these two words. You'd think they'd sound the same, wouldn't you? They've both got the same combination of OO letters in the middle. But as you and I know, they are not pronounced the same. The first one is flood, and the second one is loot. The OO in flood has an sound, whereas the OO in loot has an oo sound. Similarly, many words make the same sounds, but these are made up of different letter combinations. For example, if we take the words earth, worth, fern and dirt, we'll see that the same sound is created by very different combinations of letters. All make the same vowel sound, but this is made from the letters EAR, OR, ER and IR. Now, I really hope you're following me on all this. To check, I'd like you to try this exercise. The words in each of the columns below have the same strings of letters. Click on the Same button if you think all the words make the same sound, and on the Different button if you think at least one word makes a different sound. When you've finished, click Done. Yes, well done. That's right. The words in the first column, brown, frown, growl, now, all sound the same. The OW letter string makes the same sound. But in the second column, moon, blood, tool, boot, the word blood sounds completely different, even though it uses the same OO letter string. The third column uses the OU letter string. Could, flower, sour, hourly. But the word could sounds completely different from flower, sour and hourly. Finally, the AI letter strings in the fourth column all sound alike. Pain, Spain, raining, stain. OK, so let's move on. All right. OK, so let's talk about silent letters. One of the big problems with knowing how to spell a word in English is that you cannot rely on letters or combinations of letters to make the same sound every time. As you've probably noticed, there are quite a few words in English that have strange spellings. Take, for example, the words night or knife. The K in both words is silent, but you still have to write it down. Why on earth, you might ask, do these words contain the letter K in them? Well, the simple answer is because English contains a huge number of words borrowed from other languages, such as Latin, French, and of course Old English and Middle English. The word night, for example, used to be pronounced knight. But slowly, over time, people dropped the K sound. English spelling, however, didn't drop the K, and so we still spell the word with a K. Silent letters make English spelling difficult, but the important point is that you just cannot rely on the way a word sounds to know how to spell it. However, there are certain letter patterns that can help you. And once you learn to spot the patterns, you'll find it easier to avoid mistakes. For example, the letter B is a fairly common silent letter. Think of the words comb, lamb, climb. The B is silent, but you'll notice that the letter M comes before the silent B. This is a pattern that can help you with the spelling of such words. Whenever you try to spell a word that ends in M, ask yourself, should this have a B on the end? Similarly, there are quite a few words like right and wrist that start with the R sound but are actually spelt WR. This is another spelling pattern that you'll find. OK, so as I've said, spelling words that contain silent letters can be tricky. But if you're conscious of certain letter patterns, you can usually avoid making mistakes. So, let's see how good you are at spelling words containing silent letters. On my board here, I've got 4 sentences. Each sentence has a blank space for a word that contains a silent letter. Click on the ear icon at the end of each sentence to hear the word in the context of the sentence, and then type the missing word into the box here. When you think you've typed the word correctly, click OK. The hairdresser always carried a comb. Yes, well done. That's exactly how the word is spelt. Note how comb is spelt C-O-M-B. This MB pattern, in which the final B is silent, is quite common. Think of the words crumb, climb and lamb. I hurt my thumb yesterday. Yes, you've spelled the word correctly. Note how thumb is spelt T-H-U-M-B. This again is an example of the MB letter string. Mary liked to knit woolly jumpers. Yes, well done. That's exactly how the word is spelt. Knit is spelt K-N-I-T. The K is silent, but this K-N letter string is quite common. Think of the words know, knee and knowledge. The knife was very sharp. Yes, you've spelled the word correctly. Note how knife is spelt K-N-I-F-E. This is another example of the K-N string, in which the K is silent. So let's move on now to another area of English spelling that often causes difficulty. I want to talk about homophones. But what is a homophone? Well, homophones are words that sound the same but are spelt differently and have different meanings. Take, for example, the words steal and steal. Both words sound the same, But steal, S-T-E-A-L, is a verb meaning to take something that doesn't belong to you. While the word steal, S-T-E-E-L, is a noun referring to the hard, shiny metal. Both the words sound the same, but they are spelt differently and have different meanings. The word steal, therefore, is a homophone. There are many homophones in English. Think of the words no and no, two and two, hair and hair, hole and hole, sun and sun, wait and wait, week and week. The list goes on and on. So it's important that you have a good idea of which words are homophones so that you can avoid getting the spelling wrong. On my board here, I've got 4 sentences. Each sentence has a blank space for a word that is a homophone. Click on the ear icon at the end of each sentence to hear the word in the context of the sentence, and then type the missing word into the box here. When you think you've typed the word correctly, click OK. I don't know who won the match. Yes, you've spelled the word correctly. No, in this sense, is spelt K-N-O-W. The same sound can be spelt N-O, but this would not be the correct spelling in the context of this sentence. The man had no idea who had won the match. Yes, you've spelled the word correctly. No, in this sense, is spelt N-O. The same sound can be spelt K-N-O-W, but here it is N-O. The hawk is a bird of prey. No, you seem to be way off on this one. Now take a good look at how it's spelt. Try to picture it in your mind's eye. Try to notice any memorable patterns. Have you done that? Good. Now spell it again. Yes, you've spelled the word correctly. Pray, in this sense, is spelt P-R-E-Y. If we were talking about the verb to pray, then it would be P-R-A-Y. But a bird of prey is P-R-E-Y. She was religious and liked to pray. Yes, that's it. Well done. Pray, in this sense, is spelt P-R-A-Y. The same sound can be spelt P-R-E-Y, as in a bird of prey, but this is spelt P-R-A-Y. OK, before we move on, let's try another exercise to check whether you have a good grip on spelling homophones. Again, I've got 4 sentences on my board here. Each sentence, it was a long and winding road. Yes, well done. That's exactly how the word is spelt. Road, in this sense, is spelt R-O-A-D. The same sound can be spelt R-O-D-E. But this is not the correct spelling if we're talking about a long and winding road. She rode the horse with great confidence. Yes, that's it. Well done. Road, in this sense, is spelt R-O-D-E. As we've seen, the same sound can be spelt R-O-A-D. But this is not the correct spelling if we're talking about how she rode the horse. Would you like a piece of cake? Yes, that's it. Well done. Peace, in this sense, is spelt P-I-E-C-E. Another word which sounds the same but means something different and is spelt differently is peace. P-E-A-C-E. However, if we're talking about a piece of cake, then it's P-I-E-C-E. During the war, everyone longed for peace. Yes, that's it. Well done. Peace, in this sense, is P-E-A-C-E. As we've seen, there is another word that sounds the same but means something different, and this is peace. P-I-E-C-E. However, in this case, the correct spelling is P-E-A-C-E.